Dr. Fred D. Domenico joining us here from Healed and Elite Chiropractic. Yeah, he's a coach, he's a doctor, he does it all. He's helping to save lives and empower his patients and friends to live life to the fullest, live longer, and so much more. Welcome back today. How are you?
Thank you. So great to see you again.
You too. Are you in beautiful Newport Beach again
I
today?
am. Today's a little overcast, but that's okay. It
Wonderful. Same
happens
here.
occasionally.
I won't feel bad for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. New Yorkers, we're used to like rain and so I'm just joking. I
Yeah, but
love
the
Newport
food's way
Beach.
better over there.
All right, we got a point. You were correct. I agree
Yeah,
with
you
that.
do.
But you have a better view. All right. So Dr. Fred, tell us a little overview about what you do at Elite Coaching and who you are for those that may have missed some of our podcasts so far.
Well, I think there's really two major problems in the world. I think there's really only two problems in the world. One, spirituality, getting a spiritual foundation. Like we look at what the world's been through and we look at, what the world's been through and what's really going on. We have like behind the scenes, what's the narrative? There's so many things being exposed now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how people make it without a spiritual foundation. I mean, life can just be challenging. I mean, you just had, I don't know if you want to make this public,
Of
a death
course,
in
it's
the
okay. My
family.
aunt
Yeah,
passed away. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
people die, people get sick, things happen, economy changes. There's so many things that happen that if you don't have a grounding where when the mountains in front of you are so big that okay, this is only temporary. Okay, God's in me, he's around me, and he's in front of me. It really comes down to a belief system.
Yep.
And your life is only as empowered as your belief systems. And so, I mean, you can Google this. People with a spiritual foundation, they still have the same traumas, but they don't stay as depressed as long. They don't
Yep.
stay down as long. And even if they need counseling, they respond better. And really, it's
True.
it's people have more hope that no
Mm-hmm.
matter what it is, God's going to get you through it. God's ahead of you. He's going to clear it out. Maybe depending on your level of faith, that we expect miracles. It's like, God, a spiritual foundation is so important. I look back in my life and I think I don't know if I'd be able to make it
Yeah.
if I didn't have that.
Oh.
And that's one of the things I told my parents. We were raised Catholic, Italians, of course, right? And I didn't really buy into the religious aspects, but we grew
Mm-hmm.
up in a relationship.
Yeah.
We prayed for everything. And so that's kind of how I grew up, of course. What'd you do on Sunday? Stand up, kneel down, sit, stand, kneel, walk, stand, do whatever, shake hands, put your $3 in the little basket that goes by or, whatever it is. But I didn't really buy into that, but I did buy into the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so at every point where I felt like my life was in a fork in the road, what would I do? Pray.
Yeah.
And I had faith that God would show me the right way. Now, does it mean we listen all the time? No.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things in Healed. We have a 6 step system to help you tap into who God created you to be, clear your past, find your soul purpose. In H, we talk about your superpowers. Like, God, who did God create me to be? Because I have all the talents, all the gifts, all the innate personality traits that I need to fulfill my purpose. Now, nobody else could understand you. Your parents probably don't understand you. Some of your friends might. Your siblings definitely don't understand you, right? Teachers
So
don't
true.
understand you, and the more you're here to make a difference in the world, the more alone you feel because people don't think like you think. They don't see the vision that you think. So one of the superpowers, getting back to this, determination.
Yeah.
You probably have that. That's a
I
superpower.
do.
Why? Because I get shit done and I have
Damn
a strong
right. I
will.
love it. It
Yeah.
is a
And because
superpower.
my will is so strong, the problem is if I get an idea that's mine and it's not the path I'm supposed to be on, oh, I
Hmm.
have the will to create it. And then what you find is you create a life with a lot of problems.
True. Oh my gosh, that is so true.
Yeah, because why? Because we're strong-willed. We get, I'm going to do this, and especially if you're out of anger or a negative emotion, and you take an action based on a negative emotion, whether it's resentment, jealousy, guilt, anger, whatever it is, right? So, famous quote by Albert Einstein: "Don't ever solve a problem with the same mind that created it."
So true.
Because what are you going to do? That mind, if it created the problem, you're just going to create another problem.
Yep.
Right? So this is where I know after I'm 64 years old, when my
Mm-hmm.
life goes through a transition or I need to solve a problem, the first thing I do is I pray, get myself into a higher state.
Yep.
The question asked is, how would God see this?
True.
And then when you get into that consciousness, of course, we tell you how to get there through the healed experience. Then you realize you don't really even have a problem. Because when you're in a God conscious, what problems are there? There's only your emotion and the meaning that you assign to the problem
Yeah.
based on your humanity or your insecurity or an emotional need, right? Because then when you put on your God glasses, I put on my metaphorical God glasses and I see it through God's eyes, the only thing I see is love.
Oh.
So Catherine Ponder was a Christian minister. She wrote a book, Dynamic Laws of Success. And she said, every problem in your life is a test in love. If
Oh.
you solve it with love, the problem disappears. If you don't, it will stay there until you do. And you think, oh my God, what problems are persisting in your life, right? First of all, what you resist persists. So, what's that mean? What you resist persists. Well, why does it persist? Because if you're resisting it, that's where your focus is. So you're focusing and giving the meaning of a problem. That's your resistance. That's why it continues. So then once you understand, okay, if every problem is a test in love and I don't want this problem anymore, then I got to put
Mm-hmm.
on my God glasses.
Yep.
And that means I need to take a breath, interrupt my problem oriented mind, move 18 inches, the longest, shortest journey of life from your head to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
See it through loving eyes or see that person through compassionate eyes. And then you realize it's not really a problem or I'll just let it
Right.
go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if you're in the Indy 500, you're driving on a
Ah.
racetrack. I don't know if you saw the movie with Tom Cruise. What was it? Thunder.
No, I didn't. I didn't. But I do like the fast car
What was it
thing.
called? Something Thunder. I don't know. But anyway, it's like if there's a crash in front of you, what's the strategy if you're going at friggin' 180 miles an hour and cars crash right in front of you? Well, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like two pool balls hitting. If they connect in front of you, the last place they're going to be is right in front of you.
Yep. Oh my
And so,
gosh.
what's the strategy on a racetrack? Go straight at it. And by the time you get through there, there's no problem
Yep.
because they've ricocheted all over the place. And so this is kind of a metaphor for life. What's God's solution to most problems in your life? See it from love and do nothing.
Yeah.
See it, just give love and do nothing.
Ah.
And then you find the problem disappears on its own. You don't have to do anything. Rather than trying to find a solution for every problem, man, that is a nightmare.
It so is.
Yeah, because
Oh.
you're trying to solve all these conditions outside of you when
Mm-hmm.
the answer is always inside of you.
Yeah. Ah.
So that's like a constant, that's a daily lesson.
Uh-huh. And it's a
So, and this is
constant
what healed
reminder.
is, right? Yeah, it's
Yes.
like a hologram.
Yep.
It's like you're going from your humanity to your divinity, humanity to your divinity. When you're in your humanity, when you have the tools to go back into your divinity, see things from a higher consciousness, then you don't get so immersed in the challenges around you
Yeah. Ah.
because you have a state of inner peace within you. And this is what took me 25 years to learn because you think, well, we should meditate. And, if you really want to be successful, you have to visualize and, do all this and look at your goals. And so it took me 25 years to figure out because what would I do? I'd meditate, I'd visualize, I'd read my goals,
Of
and then
course.
I'd walk around stressed all day.
Always. Yep.
And
I get
after
it.
20, huh?
I said always. I get it.
Yeah, so after 25 years, I figured out, wait a minute. The state of meditation, you meditate to gain a reference point of inner peace. And then anytime you go through your day where you're not experiencing that,
Mm-hmm.
then in a breath, I can get back there.
Yeah.
Like then I realized, no, that's our reference point for where we should live. Now, I always get into, I appreciate your patience, these really intense life stories.
It's okay.
And I don't know if I said this one before, but anyway, I was a martial artist for a long time. So one day we're using focus mitts where my instructor, I'm hitting things and they're swinging at. So I didn't duck under a hook and it hit me in the left side of my head, laterally flexed me over, but I felt this sharp pain in my neck.
Okay.
And what it had done was it tore my vertebral
Oh my
artery.
gosh.
That's one of the main arteries that
Huh.
move up through your cervical spine that provide half the blood flow to your brain.
Oh my gosh.
Now, when you traumatize an artery, it's just like anything that bleeds, it's going to scab,
Yeah.
right? So 2 weeks later, I'm reading my goals in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to meet my wife at the time at the gym, and all of a sudden I couldn't talk. I couldn't move my mouth, and my tongue felt like it was 100 times bigger than it was. I'm like, "Ugh, ugh, ugh, ugh." And I'm like, and
Oh
I'm a
my
doctor,
gosh.
right? So I'm like, oh my God, am I having a stroke?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did a neurological, but what had happened, the artery, had clotted, the injury had clotted, and then I released a clot.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was an embolism.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm sitting there going, am I having a stroke? So I do this neurological assessment because I'm a doctor, do I have any numbness? Am I dizzy? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, none of that. And then I tried to talk and I'm like, "Ugh, ugh, ugh, ugh," and I'm like, shit, I'm having a stroke.
Wow.
And then I'm sitting there and I go, am I going to die? Because you could die from,
Yeah. But you're like thinking about it. Like, am I? Oh my gosh.
yeah, am I going to die? Because I'm a doctor. I'm analyzing myself objectively from a doctor perspective, right? And my intuition said, no, you're not going to die. So I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to die. And then I'm like, well, it's going to probably take like 2 years for me to rehab my speech. I'm sitting there going through this in my head. And I'm like, I don't really have to talk to my patients. My staff could talk to my patients. I don't have to. And then I'm like, wait, I'm not even practicing. I'm a coach.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to talk. And so in my mind, I yelled at God. I said, you have to fix this. I have a purpose. You know what it
Wow.
is. I have a message for the world. You have to fix this. I couldn't say it, but I'm literally yelling in my mind. And then I tried to talk and I couldn't talk still. I'm like, oh well, he'll fix it. Because I have a purpose. How could God give you a purpose and then you can't talk? To me, that
Wow.
is completely incongruent. You made me to do this. You
Yeah.
fix it. I got shit to do. And you might want to get on it because every second there could be brain damage.
Oh
So,
my
start
goodness.
getting busy, God, is how I was talking to him.
Of course you were.
Yeah, and then I'm supposed to meet my wife at the gym. So I figure, well, I'll just go drive to the gym because if I die on the way to the gym, who cares? I'm dead anyway. They'll just tow my truck, whatever. So I go to the gym. I find my wife and I'm like, ugh, trying to tell her I'm having a stroke. She freaks out, whisks me away. And then I'm like, wait, I'm in my gym clothes. Let me go home and change because I wasn't in a
No.
hurry. I knew God was going to save
Oh
me. Then I
no.
get to the emergency room and I'm trying to talk to the intake nurse. And she's getting all irritated because she can't understand what I'm saying. And then all of it, because she's trying to get my name and information, right? And all of a sudden, her eyes, like, oh shit, I see what's happening. She literally grabs my hand. And on cartoons, when somebody whisks you away, their legs are flapping behind me. Like she grabbed me so hard and ran me back to a CT scan. I felt like I was horizontal, behind her, right? And so they did a CT scan, and now it's like quarter to 11. So I had it at 6:30. This is 4 hours later.
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
in 7 minutes, you get brain damage. This was 4 hours later.
Wait. It was 4 hours from the CT scan till you got the results, or 4 hours till
No,
you got to
four
the
hours
hospital?
from the time I started having the stroke until I'm sitting in after the CT scan,
Oh
waiting
my
for them to
goodness.
give me the results of the CT scan.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay.
So in 7 minutes, you get brain damage. But the whole time, I knew I was going to be healed because I told God I got a purpose. This is totally incongruent. This will not happen. And so my speech started to come back. And then the nurse walks in with this file. And Jill, she walks in like this. Her eyes were wide open, her mouth was open. She walks in with file in her hands, saying nothing, standing there with her mouth open.
Oh
And
my
I'm waiting
goodness.
for her to say something. And then finally I go, "What's going on?" And she goes, "You don't have any brain damage."
Oh
Like, I
my.
can't believe it.
Oh my
You don't have any
God.
brain damage.
Wow.
And I told her I know.
What did she say to you?
I think she was just too blown away. I just got up and left.
Come on.
But here's the thing. Now, here's the point of the story. So, what do? I go back to my computer because, gee, I didn't finish reading my goals.
Oh my
I mean, I had a
gosh.
stroke in the middle of my goals. I got to go home and finish.
Yeah.
Right? How dumb is that? So, I'm reading my goals, and this loud voice, like I'm talking to you, said, "Just relax. You're already there." And I saw this picture, this image of me walking through like this beautiful field
Are
with
you
tons of
serious?
flowers, like I was in heaven, and everything
Oh,
I'd ever wanted was already there. And then I realized how much I've been running over everybody else to prove myself to myself.
wow. Wow.
And I wasn't present.
This is like manifest stuff. I've been watching manifest. Oh my gosh. Holy cow.
So,
You're getting visions and callings and all these things. Yeah.
yeah, so then you realize, well, that's a trait, the superpower of a visionary, someone who's goal oriented. We spend time in the future in our goals and we miss the miracles that are happening in the moment.
Oh,
So in that second, I became present. And since that second, I enjoy being present. Now, does it mean you don't get stressed? No. Does it mean I know how to come back in the moment?
hmm.
Yes. And that's what L is in living in now.
Wow.
Because time, we've talked about this, time in the world is horizontal. You have a
Yeah.
past, present, and future, right? The
Hmm.
past is already gone.
Oh,
The past lives in your mind as a memory associated with an emotion. Most people bring those negative emotions into their present. What are emotions of the past? Shame, guilt, resentment, right? Those are emotions of the past that you're bringing into the moment that doesn't exist in this moment. It's not real. And then because of those feelings of the past, we're afraid it's going to happen again. So we project it into the future that doesn't exist.
oh my gosh.
And so, what are emotions of the future? Anxiety, could be depression, worry, mainly anxiety and worry. Because
Yep.
what are we anxious and worried about? Something that might happen that doesn't exist in this moment. And then you
Wow.
realize the only time that exists is this moment. Time is vertical,
Oh
it's
my.
only this moment. A second ago is already gone. The introduction of this podcast, it's already gone.
Gone
Done.
over.
That moment in time is gone. When you look at a clock, What does the clock show? It shows past present moments and it shows potential future present moments. But wherever that second hand is only what exists.
Yeah.
But it's moving. So life is a succession of present time moments.
Oh my gosh. This is getting heavy.
Yeah.
Always heavy in a good way.
Yeah. And then you realize here's a mind blower. Time is an emotion.
Okay.
Like, what are you talking about? Time is an
Like,
emotion.
huh? Yeah.
Well, the past only exists as an emotion in your mind. The future only exists as a potential emotion in your mind. Now you
Wow.
look at, okay, have you ever done something? Well, this is yes. When you're doing something totally intolerable, every second feels like an eternity. When you're doing something amazingly fun, an hour could fly by in 2 minutes, right? So time is only your emotional perception of time.
True.
But the only time that exists is right now.
Ah. Oh my
So,
gosh. Now that's the past.
yeah, yeah, now that moment's already passed, but I had to have a stroke to learn that.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
if you're listening to this, it's great to probably try and practice that now because you may learn it from a potentially life-threatening consequence
Yeah. Oh,
or an emotional trauma.
oh my
So,
gosh.
how many parents look back and they think, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids, or, I wish I would have done this, or, was I really paying attention here?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like couples that, someone wants to get a divorce and and they say, I had no idea my spouse wanted a divorce. You were
Mm-hmm.
present. How can a spouse be that unhappy and you don't know about it?
Yeah.
Because you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
You see parents that, well, my kid committed suicide. We had no idea. And I could see that, but there were signs. You just didn't know what to look for,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not blaming anybody. My God, there's kids where shit just happens, and, it's like, where are we not present? Because that moment is gone. It will never come back.
Mm-mm.
We may try to reproduce it, but that's the quality of life,
Yep.
is enjoying being, if you look at the word enjoy, being in joy in the present.
Yeah.
Happiness is a condition that comes and goes. Joy is an inner state of being,
Yeah.
and that happens when you're present.
Now I feel too present.
That's why we're staring at each other.
Like, stop thinking. Oh my. And just to go back to the stroke 1 second. So during this stroke that you knew you were having, that you knew to be okay, did you like get like a calling? Did someone speak to you? How did you just know? You just felt knowing like you were fine, or like how, like what happened? Did you see something? I'm just curious.
Well, here's where, no, here's where, this is where we started. Your life is dependent on your belief system. And one,
Yeah.
spiritual foundation. I believe that I'm here for a purpose. It's for God's purpose. We're going to bring heaven to earth. We teach spirituality. I teach natural healing as a chiropractor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other problem is the healthcare system. But,
True.
I just know.
Mm-hmm.
Why would God kill me? Why would he let me die
Yeah.
when I have such a big purpose? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
created me. Why would you take me out early? I don't want to go. So fix it.
Amazing. Holy cow, I love these stories. Wow.
I mean, it's like now most people are like, yeah, but you're having a stroke. So,
I'll get through it. I'm fine.
yeah, what if I would have died? Well, I would have crossed over the other side, which I haven't died to cross over the other side, but I have had out of body experience with Christ. And then I would go, wow, God, you're so cool, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I know, but you got to go back. Yeah, but heaven and this whole thing is so cool. Yeah, but you got shit to do. All
Hmm.
right, fine, I'll go back. So even if I died, I would still come back.
God
'Cause I
bless.
got shit to do, man. I'm not done.
Oh my gosh, you really are inspiring. And I know, you're a speaker, you're a doctor, you're a teacher, you do everything, but like are you like on national stages?
Well, that's the goal. Yeah, I've been a little occupied with other things, but
Of
yeah, that's
course. But clearly
my
that's your
vision.
potential.
Certainly,
God
when I get
is,
this, yeah, when I get this healed system out, I do see myself speaking to audiences all over the world.
so do I. Clearly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazingly.
absolutely.
You get me
And
glued, like glued.
well, it's like, well, I see you do. You already do that. But the whole thing is like, God, I'm 64, man. You better get busy, dude. Like, come
Never,
on, man. You better make some shit, make some stuff happen
right,
here
right.
because
Never
I ain't
too
getting
late,
any
they say.
younger. So let's go.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Which is why I'm under chiropractic care, right? Spine and nervous system's foundation. Healthy spine means spinal cord's your lifeline, carries energy to the organs. So chiropractic care, I make sure my body's always younger than my chronological age because I got stuff to do, man. I need this physical body to make
Oh,
things happen on this physical plane.
wait, I know we're into chiropractic and but I know you still are a believer in medicine to a point, but what about telomeres? Or we should be getting our telomeres. Do telomeres mean anything to you? Should we be getting that
No,
tested or
absolutely. And it's already been shown that when you have a strong nervous system, that your telomeres will be longer.
really?
Yeah, because energy is healing.
So have you gotten them tested? Where can we get them
I haven't
tested?
gotten mine tested, no.
Interesting. I've heard about that.
But
Hmm.
energy is healing. Your
Yeah.
body needs energy, right? This physical body, we have physical matter. This matter needs energy to stay alive and reproduce and be healthy, right? So your body, your organs regenerate about every 4 months. I think 6 weeks you have new lungs. I think 4 months you have new liver. You have new blood in 4 months. Bones are like 7 years. So if every year you have three new bodies, then that is dependent on your body's ability to regenerate. Cells die off and are being replaced.
I feel like a
That
crayfish.
process is driven by energy.
Oh my gosh. What about nutrition? What about the people claiming to be breatharians? Do we need food and water to survive?
Well, of course.
Yes and no, do we? I don't know. I mean,
Well, energy initiates, allows the regenerative process. The
okay.
food you put in your mouth are the materials that your body builds new cells with.
Okay. Okay. Just making
So we
sure.
need energy first. Like you can have, I can't tell you how many people, vegetarian, you can get a lot of opinions on this, but great
I know.
diets, great stuff, but they had weak immune systems. They had other problems. Why? Because they had spinal problems. They had an energy problem.
Got it.
Like it's energy first.
Got it. All right. We got to run.
Yeah.
Dr. Domenico, how do we contact you?
You can go to thehealedsystem.com. You can go to Elite, Elite Coaching LLC.com, or you can
Perfect.
just email me, Dr. Fred, DRFRED 1, the number one, Dr. Fred 1 at MSN.com. And if I don't answer, it could be it went to junk. I didn't recognize it. I might have accidentally deleted it. So if I don't get back with you, send me another one and go, hey, pal, like hey, man, answer my
Got it.
email on the subject line.
No problem. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you back. Talk to you soon.
Pleasure's
And
mine.
thank you again.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jill.